There's never been a better time to sell or trade your used car or truck.
Davenport Auto Park is ready to buy your pre-loved vehicle. The market is hot for used cars and we're paying top dollar.
Drive into Davenport today and turn your car into cash.
You'll get a cash offer on the spot. We'll even pay off your loan and give you a ride home.
Or we'll help you pick out a new ride.
Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount. For the ride of your life and the life of your ride. Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount.
We are so glad you joined us on Cuisine with Jean and Ginny Morhbutter, who is the Executive Director of the Tar River Region for the United Way, is our guest. And Ginny, it's always a pleasure.
Same here, Jean. I haven't seen you in a while, and it's great to see you again. It's great to be with everybody today. Love coming and sharing some good food and also just talking about what's going on in the community, and it's just a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thank you. And I've been following all the, gosh, what would our area have done without the United Way after the tornadoes or tornado damage? I mean, y'all have really embraced the lead for all of the distributing of donations and whatnot, haven't you?
Well, you know what, Jean, when something like that happens, we know we need to step up. With every disaster that we've had in the last 20 plus years, or even going back to Floyd, we've had to step up and help. This one was, like every disaster is very unique, but this one was so poignant because it was so destructive and so many people weren't expecting it. With a hurricane, oftentimes we know it's coming. With COVID, you know, we kind of knew some of the details around that. This was so unexpected, and so many people were just caught by this storm. But I'm so glad United Way could be there and is still there every day. We teamed up with the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce to set up a fund, and you were referring to that, and our fund has raised $540,000, which is a wonderful, and this is the first time in my history that I think we're going to be able to help anybody who needs it, which is almost unheard of, because we've raised the money, and we've been, Jean, it's been one of those exercises I'm so proud of. We've been meeting weekly, sometimes 2 and 3 times a week at the United Way office. We've been meeting with a team through state emergency management, local emergency management, faith groups, United Way, everybody helping with the recovery. And we've been going address by address to make sure any person who's been impacted can be helped if they need it. We've been focusing in on people, especially people who lost everything. We know we had homes in Nash, Edgecombe, and we know Dorchester was hit very hard. The mayor of Dorchester has been with us every week. It's just been very heartwarming to see everybody come together. So we just had a meeting last week, and we're going to continue on making sure every person is taken care of. And so we set up a distribution process. I should also add, we work closely with Pfizer as well, with the Pfizer employees. You know, they went to work, planning to work for the day, and then boom, and a number of them lost vehicles, and things that we knew that they, to get back and forth to your job, you have to have transportation. So we work with Pfizer directly, and we've been able to help their employees that had, a lot of damage on their vehicles. So we're excited we could help with that aspect, and then also, of course, the community side, which is United Way is all about community. So I will say that it will go into the new year, but we have done a lot. As the mayor said, Mayor Vic in Dorchester, he said he can't believe how much we've gotten done in this short period of time. So shout out to everybody who's helped us with that process and continues to stay with us to make sure all of our citizens are helped.
And one of the things I've always admired so much about the United Way, you vet needs and you prioritize, and you do it in such an inclusive, caring way that when people give to the United Way, they know they don't have to wonder, what's going to happen to their money and what's going to go to administrative costs and whatnot. You target the greatest needs, and you do seek just great input from others. Y'all don't make, decisions without really bringing, like you said, the mayor and all kinds of people in, agency people, and so we know that the money's going right where it needs to go most.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is, I think, a hallmark of United Way and our United Way. We will make sure we look at the needs. We look at the data coming from the program typically. Now, our tornado recovery is a little bit different, but we want to make sure that it's targeting where our pressing needs are, and then we look at data coming out on the backside to see that has the program been effective. And absolutely, absolutely. And our administrative cost, we are under 4% for our administrative costs at our office.
Wow.
We have 3 staff members, including me. But we have, lots of volunteers helping us. Like with this tornado, we've got the team that meets weekly. Then we have a team that's reviewing all the applications that come in. So and then we have another team that we've got these different checkpoints to make sure we've got accountability from start to finish. Because we want people to know if they support United Way, we're going to make sure that money, your donation, is used in the most effective way and an accountable way where multiple people kind of look at where the needs are, make sure the money's going to be used effectively. And we're all about local. The local side of United Way is probably one of the most important, because to your point, if you choose to give, you can see your donation working in our local community.
So all local funds stay locally.
Absolutely. The only reason it does not is a donor wants to send it elsewhere. And that happens where someone maybe lived in another community and they want their donation to go back to that community, or they they work here but they live in a different community. They want their donation to go to their home community. But that's the beauty of United Way. It's about choice. And you and I were talking, it's also about just supporting our community. We talk about a caring community. What can we do to increase philanthropy in our community? So if you choose it, it's through United Way. That we greatly appreciate that. Some choose it through a church, or some choose it through other organizations. We just want to really kind of lift up those things that can make us be more responsive for our community members, create that caring culture, just that sense that when you need someone to help you, your neighbors helping neighbors. That's kind of something I've been saying a lot with this tornado recovery. Truly, and let me add one final thing with the tornado, Jean.
We are going to cook, y'all.
We are. I get so excited about United Way. But one thing I will say is that the state emergency management told us that we might have a best practices model here.
Oh, good.
Because folks may not realize when the tornado hit, we did not receive, of course, federal dollars. It was not it was not a disaster that reached that level. And with state dollars, Dorchester received some for their cleanup, but it was not a state disaster either.
Why? What they did it would have been.
It's the dollar amount. It's the damage did not reach the threshold. And it was, and remember, it's between different counties too, because it was Nash County and Edgecombe County. It's not
concentrated in one county. We probably would have reached
probably.
Okay.
So because we, as the lead entity with the fund, they were like, this is truly neighbors helping neighbors, because the money was the people donated the money, and then we got it out to help people without all those other supports that typically come with a disaster. So I had to add that, because I think that's really poignant that is what we were faced with, but yet we rose above that and we said, look, we can do this, and we can take care of our own neighbors and our own folks right here in our community.
You know, they did that when there was flood in Nashville, Tennessee one time. I remember they had a big flood in downtown, and all the music industry and whatnot, they said, we got this. These are our people. And let's get started on this.
I know.
It's vegetarian shepherd's pie.
That's right.
When I think of shepherd's pie, I think of potatoes. I mean, it's always got like a potato crust on it, right?
It does. And shepherd's pie is interesting because I think when it's colder outside, you like something warmer, and this is a great meal. It's fairly easy to prepare. It's something that keeps for a while. You can just bake it off, and you can serve it, in the evening, or take it for lunch, at your office or wherever you might need to take it.
Can you freeze it?
You can freeze it. It's very freezable, because the ingredients, as we talk through them, they're very hardy, so they freeze well. And I have to say, this is a go-to in our house, because Jean, you know that I'm not a meat eater, so I use a lot of the vegan products and the soy products and things like that, and I eat lots of veggies. We talked about early on about putting beans in this. You could put beans in it, but with this recipe, I have not put beans in it. But I did use a product that's and I brought this just to show. They're called veggie crumbles. They're Morningstar. They're a lot of Beyond Beef. There are a lot of different products out right now.
Plant protein.
It's a plant protein, so that's the basis for this. But typically you'd see ground beef, or maybe you could put chicken. I mean, you can put almost any beef you want, or any kind of meat you want in it. I've just chosen the veggie crumbles. And can I say that cooking this is a charm? If you are putting it in shepherd's pie, it's already pre-cooked.
Oh, good.
So you don't have to cook it off, and there's no grease that comes from from it. So you literally can cook this, and I just put it into as I'm cooking this, and it cooks through the casserole because we're kind of creating a casserole.
And I've never used it. Is it hard to get this locally?
Oh, you freezer section in any of our local grocery stores. So you could go to Harris Teeter, you can go to Food Lion. Now this product comes in different flavors. I use just the basic typically. It comes with no flavors. This one has a chorizo because I was trying to find just the basic, but the chorizo is going to give it a little bit of spice. But you can. I typically would use just the regular veggie crumbles, and and I bet if you put this in something and you served it to someone, they wouldn't know the difference. People will eat it and think, I think I'm eating ground beef.
And a whole lot healthier. It's 17% protein, so it does have a lot of protein in it, doesn't it?
Protein is good. You have with these products, the sodium content, you have to kind of watch that a little bit because there is salt in it. So I brought salt and pepper. I just salt and pepper to taste, but you probably don't need a lot of extra salt because you're going to find salt in products like this.
Okay. I tell you, it's about time. Let me read the ingredients. 1 whole onion. I guess you're going to chop that. 2 stalks of celery. 3 cups of mushrooms, Bella White or shiitake. 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, the 10.5-ounce size. A bag of Morningstar veggie crumbles, and this is 13.5 ounces, and it's or a pound of ground beef. 2 cups of diced peas and carrots, frozen or fresh. 4 large russet potatoes, plus a stick of butter, salt and pepper to taste. Extra virgin olive oil. We're going to take a quick break, and then you're going to jump right into putting it together.
That's right.
Stay with us, please.
There's never been a better time to sell or trade your used car or truck.
Davenport Auto Park is ready to buy your pre-loved vehicle. The market is hot for used cars, and we're paying top dollar.
Drive into Davenport today and turn your car into cash.
You'll get a cash offer on the spot. We'll even pay off your loan and give you a ride home.
Or we'll help you pick out a new ride.
Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount. For the ride of your life and the life of your ride. Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount.
Jenny, you ready to cook?
I know. We have a lot to talk about when we get together, don't we?
Well, and y'all might know, Jenny had a show for a long time on WHIG, and she was fabulous. But I think with this tornado, you've been just so swamped with work.
Priorities. And then, of course, we've got our giving campaign going on with our $1 million goal. So that's always the heart of what I need to focus in on to make sure we raise the money to get it out to help people in the community.
And you want to say, like, if people want to give, I mean, a lot of corporations do a great job, like the school system and the city and Cummings, Rocky Mountain Engine, and I mean, a lot of them do. But if there are individuals watching who think, wow, 4% administrative costs, I mean, how great is that?
Right.
Very few people can say that.
Right, absolutely. Well, our website's probably the easiest place, UnitedWayTRR.org. You can make an online donation. It's instant. You know, it takes about 5 minutes, and then you get a receipt back, so you have it for end of the year. So that's probably the easiest, and they can always reach out to me at the United Way office. You know, our office is kind of diagonally across from Sam's Club, 2501 Sunset.
And I remember when that flooded, when it was the chamber office and it flooded.
I know, and we've had minor flooding since then, but not to the extent during Floyd when papers were floating around the office, I heard. So yeah, that was really tough. But people are welcome to come to the office or use our website, and we're always happy to talk about United Way and how their donations are used. Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
Okay, vegetarian shepherd's pie. And again, you can substitute meat, ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, something like that if you want to. Jenny uses veggie crumbles.
Yeah, and Morningstar, like I said, is one brand, but they have Beyond Beef, I think is what it's called, or Beyond Meat. This is my favorite, but everybody likes different things. But as I mentioned, this is a product that's already pre-cooked. So let me just kind of go through the steps of how you prepare it. With the shepherd's pie, what I love about it is you have the vegetables in it, you have your meat or your protein in it, and you also have your potatoes. So you almost have like an instant meal within one casserole, which is what I love. So typically what as the ingredients we talked about, I start with, at least in this onion I know is very strong, but we have onion and we do peas and carrots and celery. So typically, and I'm not fussy on how you cut something. And, you know, if you just chop it, some people like bigger chunks of veggies. I tend to cut a little bit smaller. So, and of
You're
course,
from Eastern North Carolina.
Is
My
that
husband
common?
likes little tiny ones. My mom was a Yankee, and she liked big ones. Yeah, it's personal preference, folks.
well, and I do like vegetables that are not always cooked real heavily. I like to
a little crunch to it.
And what I was also going to say is that with this here, you can get fresh if you want, or you can get frozen. I typically go with frozen veggies because you still have a lot of your nutrients in it at that point.
And it's a lot faster.
It is faster. So I keep
Yeah.
a bag. I keep a bag of just mixed vegetables in my fridge or in my freezer all the time and pop them out when I need them. So what we would do is we cut up the veggies, and I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of cutting, and however you again want to cut.
And you don't have to cook these, saute any of this ahead of time,
This
right?
you do.
Oh, okay.
This part you do saute a tiny bit, and so we cut up the celery, cut up the onion, and I'll go ahead and we're gonna have a little bit of a
That's okay.
tear jerker here, but with the onion I do cut that nice and small because we don't want that too.
And you can buy frozen onions now. Did you know frozen chopped onions?
I know, aren't they wonderful?
Yeah. I mean, I was amazed, and I have always done my own, but as you said, it's not great when they burn your eyes.
I
badly
know,
whatnot.
and we're getting a sample of that right now. I also like the ones you can get in the fresh veggie section. You can get onions cut there.
Yeah.
You can get peppers cut, all kinds of different things that make life a little bit easier. And sometimes it's nice to do that when life is busy. It's nice to kind of go with those easier things.
Oh, definitely.
The other ingredient that's really important, and from my perspective, is the mushroom. We eat a lot of mushrooms.
Love mushrooms.
Oh, they're so good. And even though we're going to talk about, we talked about adding cream of mushroom soup, I like to do some fresh mushrooms as well to put in. So as we talked about, you could use Bella, white, shiitake. There's all kinds of mushrooms. So it's really what you like. This is a very forgiving recipe because you can put a variety of different things in it. But mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, are something I always put in it.
And it could be something you have on hand.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is one of those ones you can almost clean out your refrigerator or freezer.
boy.
You can put a lot of things in it, and it still ends up being really good. So you cut all these ingredients up, and then we talked on the front end about, now this is extra virgin olive oil. Rather than bringing my whole container this morning, I brought it in a Nash Community College tumbler. So what you would do is you would just a little saute pan. You pour your extra virgin olive oil in, and then you're going to want to put, and I've just cut up a little sample for us here. You're going to want to put this all into your saucepan. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more than that. You cook all this up and get it just kind of brown. You don't need to cook it a lot.
And tender, a little bit tender?
A little bit tender, because with onions, keep in mind you're browning it here, but you're going to put it in a casserole dish and you're going to cook it off for about another 30 minutes. So get it tender. The mushrooms start to get kind of brown, and that sauce that comes from a mushroom is so good. Then you're going to go ahead and
pour all of that in. I mean, you keep the extra virgin olive oil. You add that to your.
So you add in all. So we talked about having the two stalks of celery, the 3 cups of mushrooms. So you want to go ahead and put all that in, and then we talked about the entire bag of the crumbles. You're going to add all that in.
Is that what color it is coming out of the bag?
It's typically a brown color, but this is the chorizo, so it has a
okay.
little bit of a spicy tint to it. So, and I've got my spoon somewhere, but you stir all that up, you cook it. Then what you want to do is, this is going to be the bottom of your
the bottom layer. So it's a layered dish.
It's layered. Okay. So once you've cooked this, gotten it brown, you layer it on in your dish, and we're gonna show you on the back end of what this looks like. So you put it in your dish. While you're working on that, the potato is the topper, as we know. With shepherd's pie wouldn't be anything if it didn't have the potatoes on the top. So.
And it's almost like a crust. I mean, it seals everything in there while it cooks.
It is. And the beauty of this is we're going to show the final product before the show ends. So once you've kind of layered it in your dish, what you want to do is prepare your potatoes. Now, if you want to do like I did, and these are actually really easy to use.
Oh.
And the ones I use for this have a little bit of cheese in them, because you can do just about anything you want. A couple of packets of this, or do 4 russet potatoes. You would peel them, obviously cut them up, mash them with a stick of butter, add salt and pepper. The salt and pepper to taste. So once you've gotten those ready, and I've got kind of the final product here. These are the potatoes I prepared beforehand. You're going to This is going to be, your crumble will be on the bottom, and then you're going to put your potatoes right on top.
And does everything else, like the cream of mushroom soup and everything, go together?
Yes, thank you. Forgot that. Cream of mushroom soup goes in. We were talking about the crumbles. That goes in. Thank you for reminding me. That goes into the crumble, to the mushrooms, the veggies, and the celery. That goes in with that mixture. Okay. Cook it off, and that goes in the bottom layer.
Ginny, I would think, because I like a little bit of crunch to my vegetables. I'm married to somebody who likes everything the texture of canned.
Yes.
And so that would be something that people could make, you know, their own determination for what their family likes. I especially like the way everybody's in a hurry right now. It just seems like, and the fact that you found ways that people can save time.
Absolutely, without compromising the health aspect of it. You can actually do things that are still healthy, but it doesn't. It does. You can save time on doing it, because we're in a world where people oftentimes go buy food, which that's fine too. You know, go out and eat, or buy something and bring it home. But this is a meal you can probably cook this in less than about 35-40 minutes, and you can again keep it in the refrigerator. Let me also add, freeze it.
Yeah.
Jean, you mentioned, I'm glad you reminded me of the cream of mushroom. So that goes in with the first ingredients we talked about. You could substitute, you can do cream of mushroom. If you really like broccoli and cheese, you could do broccoli and cheese. If you really like chicken, you could do cream of chicken or cream of celery, because any of those, it's just going to take on more the flavor of whatever soup you put in. But because
you're looking for the cream texture that's in there.
Exactly, the cream texture. And you know, another option is you can do low sodium. You can do low fat, so you can do this and make it, you know, very, very diet friendly by doing this. So lots of variations you can do.
And what size pan do you put it in?
I put it in usually a Pyrex dish about this big, and when we show the final product, you'll see it. But I typically do
9 by 11 or
8 about a 9 by 11 would be perfect. And again, you put the crumbles, the mushroom soup, and the veggies on the bottom. You put the potatoes on top, and then you cook it out. You put it at about, as I put in here, about 350. Cook it for about 30 minutes, because most of the ingredients are already cooked. You're just trying to kind of finish it off, and like you said, create that almost crusty potato topping, which makes it so good. And of course, since my last name is Morhbutter, I have to say that, you know, I use butter in this dish. So butter is, you know, I choose to use butter. Some people use, you know, other things, but I typically use butter when I cook.
On the top of it?
I usually do. Well, I put butter in the potatoes when I'm cooking them, but then I typically put a few pats of butter. And if you've put it in your refrigerator and it's a little bit dry, you can always put butter on it and then re-bake it just to kind of fluff it up a little bit. Butter is kind of one of those, it's a very forgiving type ingredient. You can use it in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah. And it tastes good too.
It does taste good, yes.
Okay, we're going to take a break, clear this, and show you the finished product. We'll be right back.
There's never been a better time to sell or trade your used car or truck.
Davenport Auto Park is ready to buy your pre-loved vehicle. The market is hot for used cars, and we're paying top dollar.
Drive into Davenport today and turn your car into cash.
You'll get a cash offer on the spot. We'll even pay off your loan and give you a ride home.
Or we'll help you pick out a new ride.
Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount. For the ride of your life and the life of your ride. Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount.
Potatoes have a little bit of cheese in them. You do not need to do it like that. You can just use a regular russet potato, or you can do any kind of potato. But once you get into it, you want to take your spoon and dip all the way down, straight down, and scoop.
You want to show Lee the layers in it? I think it'd be pretty for people to see.
That's the top, and then you can see the layers that are in it. And remember, that's the mushroom soup, the veggie crumbles, the peas and carrots, the celery, and the onion. That was all pre-cooked, and then you put that on the bottom, and then you've got your potatoes on top. Pop it in the oven at 350 degrees. Cook it for about 30 minutes, and that's your final product.
And because of the peas and carrots, you really don't even need like a salad or something with it, do you?
No. In fact, it is almost a meal in itself. You could always put a salad with it or some other accompaniment. Maybe carbs. I know people watch them, but like a little piece of toasted bread goes well with it. Little dip it with olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette. But this is a meal unto itself. And like we talked about, you can put it in the fridge. You can freeze it. You can put pats of butter back on top, pop it back in the oven, and it'll fluff it up a little bit, but it's really tasty. And we talked about salt and pepper to taste. You don't need a lot of salt and pepper because there is a lot of salt in the products in here already.
Now, I reheat in the microwave. Do you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I get, in fact, I'm going to promote Sam's Clubs, but I get those pull-out wax paper sheets to keep it from splattering because I don't like to have to clean out the inside of the microwave.
Agree.
But just put it in the container you're going to serve it on, the plate. Put one of those over it, wax paper, and just heat it for probably a minute.
Right, because this is already so well cooked. Just a quick microwave, boom, you've got your meal ready. I mean, it's again, from start to finish, no more than 45 minutes to do this. And in a busy world, this is a great recipe because you can cook it, have it available, and then it's the meal that keeps on giving.
Oh, okay. Kind of like the United Way.
Absolutely. Well, that's true. That's true.
And I want to mention, it was Sandy, our mayor. He cooked with us not too long ago, and he said that for years now he has given his entire mayor salary to the United Way because he so strongly believes in you all.
I know. We're so grateful. The mayor and so many people who support United Way, but he started that during COVID. And he is so generous, and we're so appreciative. And so many, we have 5,000 donors that support our local work. So we're just so grateful to everyone and, of course, the mayor for their support.
Great. Well, and Jenny's recipe will be on Cuisine with Jean website. We encourage you to go there. I think a lot of the past cooking shows are on YouTube. WHIG posts them on YouTube, so you feel free to go back and watch some of those and see some of the local celebrities sharing favorite recipes with you. So thank you for joining us. See you next week.
There's never been a better time to sell or trade your used car or truck.
Davenport Auto Park is ready to buy your pre-loved vehicle. The market is hot for used cars, and we're paying top dollar.
Drive into Davenport today and turn your car into cash.
You'll get a cash offer on the spot. We'll even pay off your loan and give you a ride home.
Or we'll help you pick out a new ride.
Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount. For the ride of your life and the life of your ride. Davenport Auto Park, Rocky Mount.